All right, here's our last practice video of the lesson. We're going to implement some menu items and menus and menu bars. We're going to start with the code that we did from our last practice video from 6D. Remember this code? We put in a button that said press me, attached an action listener to it. We had a label that started out with the text X, and then in our action listener, we said if we were yellow, turn ourselves to green. If we were green, turn ourselves to yellow, and add another X to the text. Let's just run it so we remember what was happening. If I press the run button, I get, here's my window that says this is my title, a button press me, and a little label that has an X. Each time I press it, the color of the button changes and one more X happens. Now, let's put in some menu stuff so that we're going to add a menu bar right here. And let's put two menus in it with a couple of menu items in each one. So how are we going to do that? If we go into our constructor for the GUI where we've created the button and the label and we've added things to the content pane and so on, let's put some menu stuff in here. Remember, our first step was to create a JMenu bar. So I do JMenu bar, give it my variable name, menu bar, equals a new JMenu bar. Okay, now I've got a menu bar. It hasn't been hooked up to the window yet, and it doesn't have any menus in it, but I've got my object for the menu bar. Let's create two menus. So I'll do JMenu menu1 equals a new JMenu, and I'm just going to call this 1. And then I'm going to do JMenu menu2, and I'm going to have that one called 2. So in my menu bar across the top, you're going to see the words 1 and 2. Now let's put a couple of things in there. Create some menu items. JMenu item, menu item red equals a new JMenu item with the text red. JMenu item quit equals a new JMenu item with the text quit. And JMenu item press equals a new JMenu item with the text press the button. So I'm going to hook up the red and the quit to menu 1 and the press the button to menu 2. So let's put a space in here. I'm going to implement this a little bit later. In here, connect the menu items to action listeners. But I'm not going to do that just yet. Let's add the menu items to the menus. So menu1 dot add mi red. Let's wait for Eclipse to catch up. Yep. Menu1 dot add mi quit. And menu2 dot add mi press. Then we will add the menu bar, add the menus to the menu bar. So we do menu bar dot add. And what goes in here is menu 1. And then I'll do menu bar dot add menu 2. And then I'll make the menu bar visible by doing set JMenu bar menu bar. Okay, if I did all of this correctly, when we execute it, we will have our menu items on the screen. They just won't do anything yet. So let's test this out. I'm going to run it. And look, I now have 1 and 2 across the top. If I click on 1, it has the drop-down items read and quit. If I click on 2, it has the drop-down item press the button. Now, none of these do anything yet. The button hasn't changed. It still goes from yellow to green, still adds X's when I press it, but I've got these menu items that don't yet do anything. So let's correct that. Let's make them do something. Let's notice that in our code, we already have an action listener. We've got a class called myListener, which implements action listener. And up here, we created a variable called myListener that was an instance of that class. I'm going to use that exact same listener and hook it up to my menu items. So I'm going to do menu item read dot add action listener. If I can spell correctly, add action listener, giving it the reference to that action listener, my listener. Mi quit dot add action listener, my listener, and mi press dot add action listener, my listener. Okay, let's see what happens. If I run this now, I've still got the button that still works. I've got menu items, but I try the menu items and nothing happens. I've hooked them up to the action listener, but why doesn't anything happen? Well, let's look at our action listener. Our action listener says, if the source was button 1, do something. It doesn't say anything about if the source was menu item, read or quit. So let's see if we can change that. I want to be able to do something like if get source equals button 1 or get source equals menu item press. So let's see if I can put that in here. You'll notice that the name of my object for menu item press, which I want to do the exact same thing as if I press the button, is mi press. Okay, so down here, I want to say, instead of just if the source was button 1, I want to do if the source was button 1, or, some of you have already figured this out, to do an OR in Java, it's 2 vertical bars in a row, or e.getSource equals menu item press. For either of those, I want to do the exact same code. Now Eclipse is complaining. It says, you know what? I can't find mi press anywhere. Why can't it find mi press? Can't find mi press because I declared mi press right here. You know what I had to do with the button? I had to put it up here so it was visible both to my constructor and to my action listener. I'm going to do the same thing here with my menu items. J menu item mi press, J menu item mi read, and J menu item mi quit. Make them visible everywhere, but now instead of creating a brand new mi read, I'll use the one that's already declared, use the same one here. Now mi press, this mi press, notice when I put my cursor on it, it highlights everywhere in the code that's using the same variable. It's the same variable down here. Thank you, Eclipse. You are awfully nice to tell me that. So now mi press should do the same thing as the button. I haven't done anything with red or quit, but MI press should do the same thing as the button. So I'm going to save my code, run it. Notice red doesn't do anything, quit doesn't do anything, but press the button, pressed the button. It made it yellow, added an X. If I do it again, it makes it green and adds an X. I can press the button, goes back to yellow. Do this, it goes back to green. So I've got some action out of my menu item, press the button. Let's do our menu item red. In this same action listener, here's a place that said if the source was button 1 or the source was MI press, do all of this stuff. Let's do else if e.getSource equaled MI red. Well, what are we going to do with MI red? Let's set button 1's background color to red. Okay. And we'll set is yellow to false. So the next time you press the button, it's going to turn it yellow. No matter what it was before, next time it'll turn it yellow. So when I press red from the menu, it should change the button to red, and the next time I do it, next time I press the button, it should go to yellow. Let's run and see what happens. Click red, button changed to red. Now it's yellow, green, yellow, green. I can make it red, and so on. But quit still doesn't do anything. That's the last thing we're going to do in this video. I'm going to make it so that when I do quit, it exits the window and the program. So let's do another else if in our action listener. Else if e.getSource equals MI quit, I'm going to do system.exit 0. System.exit says leave the application, close everything up, go home, you're done. So let's run it, make sure everything's working. The button still works. Pressing the button from the menu item still works. Turning it red still works. But now when I press quit, the window goes away, the application finishes. You're ready for programming assignment 12. Go ahead, have fun, and happy programming.